Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Vas Vasiliadis, and I'm going to spend a couple of minutes just talking about what Globus is and how connectors play into our world. And then Jason will take over and describe the iRODS connector and what we've done together. And then I'll come back and close off the session. And as Susan said, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. I'd like to make this interactive if we can, or if you'd rather put them in the chat, that's fine too. We'll address those after the talk. So first off, what is Globus? Globus is a group at the University of Chicago that builds and operates this research data management service for the community. Our mission is to really help all data-driven science be done more efficiently. And we've been around about 10 years. Actually, this is our 10-year birthday here at SC. We launched at SC10, I think it was in New Orleans, maybe somewhere there. And we've grown quite a bit since then, so we're really excited. We get our funding for development from a lot of the federal agencies and other groups, but we also rely on subscribers, institutions around the world that pay us annual subscriptions for operating the service. And this is kind of a key part of our overall mission, is to make this a sustainable effort. Just a quick overview of some of the common use cases of how people are using Globus. At the core, there's a reliable, secure file transfer service that allows you to move data between any two so-called endpoints. These are storage systems that have Globus-enabled software on them. You can also use Globus to share data from those systems with people that don't have access or don't have local accounts on those systems. So this is really useful in most collaborative research efforts. And increasingly, we're starting to see people use Globus to move data off instruments, to distribute it to their project group, to the community. And then also, when they have larger data sets, perhaps putting some kind of data portal or science gateway or data commons around those data, and making them available both for download via the browser, as well as through managed file transfer using Globus. So this modern research data portal is an example of something that we've been promoting jointly with the folks at ESNet, and this is emerging as a well-established design pattern for getting data out to the broader community. And then you can also use Globus through the command line interface, typically to stage data into compute jobs as part of resource managers staging in data, and then once you've computed, you can push that back out to different types of storage. And so I mentioned endpoints. This is what gets deployed on a storage system. It's a piece of software called Globus Connect, and it turns that storage system into a Globus endpoint. So today in particular, we're talking about the iRODS connector that will allow your iRODS system to be part of this ecosystem. And we do have a number of other systems that are also Globus enabled, as well as any POSIX compliant file system. But iRODS is the newest connector in the group, and we're very excited to have Jason to walk us through what iRODS can do. So Jason, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Vas. I appreciate it. And so much like with Globus, the iRODS consortium is housed at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So we are, also a member of the university, and we are coming out of the Renaissance Computing Institute, which is an applied research organization at UNC Chapel Hill. So we effectively do business as UNC Chapel Hill. Now, this is a slightly different business model, as we are membership driven. And so our members consist of anything from enterprise customers such as Bayer, to high performance computing centers like TAC, to research institutes like Wellcome Sanger Institute for that matter. And so they pay a yearly fee and help sustain this as an open source platform. So iRODS is completely open source, and we are completely sustained through our membership driven model. We like to view iRODS as an integration layer on top of all of your existing infrastructure. So I like to call this a horizontal integration layer, which will give you the ability to abstract your underlying storage, as well as combine all of your other potential services, such as authentication and authorization infrastructure, indexing potentially for deep discovery, compute, and so on. So we provide this abstraction layer above all of that existing infrastructure. And we do that through basically the underlying technologies of our 4 core competencies, and provide these additional capabilities on top of those 4 core competencies as effectively packaged, versioned pieces of software and infrastructure you can deploy and configure. And all that being said, we see that Globus, together with iRODS, is going to give us the ability to meet better needs as far as this data transfer and all that data movement. We have seen historically that Grid FTP was used as a means by which to move data in between these various HPC centers, and bringing Globus Connect together with iRODS once again, I think is going to allow us to address many of those use cases that Vas has already mentioned. Using more familiar words from an iRODS point of view, we see this as data movement from the edge for ingress and egress. So effectively creating those data transfer nodes that Vas has mentioned, which is going to allow us to share that data efficiently for any of your collaborators. Once again, using iRODS words, we see this as a landing zone, a place where data is brought into the system coming from things like instruments and whatnot, various rich data sources. And then for publication as well. So if we want to be able to share that data, and especially reference that data via persistent identifiers, for journal articles or other scientific publications. And to that point, we can see iRODS sitting in the middle here, managing all of the underlying storage within our virtual file system, or as we like to call it, a unified namespace, and then basically allow Globus to sit here at the edge for those data transfer nodes for data ingress and egress from IoT, as I said, collaborators, high performance computing, instruments, and so on. And so that is what is very exciting to us. Thank you, Vas.
Thanks, Jason. So just a couple of slides to close this off. So first, I want to briefly describe how this joint solution is architected. As I mentioned, we have this thing called an endpoint. So this typically consists of a number of data transfer nodes on which the Globus Connect software along with the iRODS connector are deployed. And that then makes the underlying iRODS managed storage accessible via the Globus service. And so then users can come along and access what we call Globus collections, supported by the iRODS system, and move and share those across with other users and move them to other endpoints as well. And the one thing that's really interesting about the iRODS connector, it's the first connector to be developed under our community connector program. So in the past, all the connectors that Globus has made available have been developed by the Globus team, and that we've heard from the community that there's demand for folks to develop their own connectors, and in particular, we were hearing a lot of people asking for iRODS support. So we've worked with iRODS to get this connector out there and structure this program such that others can come along and also develop connectors that support their own sort of customized or bespoke storage systems. And it's a joint effort with us and the developer, in this case iRODS. They did a lot of the coding, integration, we did the testing, and we continue to support that effort, and we'll continue to do that for all our users. We'll provide level 1 support as we typically do, and then we'll be able to escalate support to the iRODS team as needed. So this is a new sort of mode of us engaging with the community, and we're very excited and hope that that others will join us in this effort as well. So I will leave it there, and with that we can take any questions that people have.